We're up to week number 9. Congratulations again. I mean, this has been such an amazing experience and such a cool journey for me just creating this program for you. And I'm so excited that you've made it through to week 9. It's really an amazing accomplishment, really. So this week, we're going to implement something that is very near and dear to me, and that is my daily mobility routine. And literally the first thing I do when I get up is I start my mobility routine. Like I shut off my alarm, which as you know is across the room, and I go straight into my mobility and I do it for 10 minutes. That's how I start my day. In a second, we're gonna get into some different ideas on how to implement it. But why is doing a mobility routine so important? Well, the reality is that our lives have changed so dramatically now that we live in a modern world, right? A long, long time ago, a couple hundred years ago, thousands of years ago, we were so mobile and so active that we literally, even as adults, we had pretty similar flexibility as when we were kids. And it sounds kind of crazy. Like the assumption now is that, wow, kids are really flexible and adults are stiff, but that's 100% like that's not normal. It's not natural. As adults, we were supposed to have incredible flexibility. We're literally supposed to have just about the same flexibility as we did when we were kids. And so how do we kind of regain this flexibility? How do we prevent from getting stiffer? The idea is we want to work on our joint range of motion, okay? All of our joints have a certain amount of range of motion that's normal and natural. And here's what happens. If you stop using the joint range of motion, if you stop using the normal motion, you lose it, okay? If you don't use it, you lose it. So we really want to be able to move normally, because you'd be surprised, even just walking normally, there's flexibility and mobility involved in that in terms of your hips, right? You need to have relatively flexible hips, your ankles, your rotation. Walking's rotating. Human movement's very interesting and more complex than you might realize by seeing it as someone who's not really an exercise physiologist, for example. So the reason actually why, frankly, I do as much mobility as I do is because I want to get super strong. And a circus performer, those like the performers like in Cirque du Soleil, these unbelievable people who are like lifting others, like literally they like lift people over their head with one hand. These people are unbelievably flexible. They're like contortionist flexible. It's unbelievable. And you're thinking, well, why is flexibility so important for strength? Well, the more flexible you are, the more you can align your joints and the structure of your body in order to handle weight over your head. So for example, if I'm lifting a weight over my head and I don't have very good mobility and flexibility, it's going to require so much more intensity in order to just keep something over my head. Whereas if someone's really flexible, they're going to be able to get their arm all the way back. And they're going to be able to just hold the weight over their head and do really impressive strength feats. So flexibility is not just for ballerinas and dancers, as I used to think. It's also for people who really want to get super strong and super athletic. Okay? So how is this going to work? First, you're going to choose a time you want to do this daily mobility routine. I personally do it first thing in the morning, which is tough, because you obviously feel stiff first thing in the morning, right? I mean, you're not going to feel like an Olympic athlete right when you wake up. But I like doing it in the morning just to get out of the way, and it makes me feel ready for the day when I'm more limber, because I limber up a little bit right in the beginning of the day, and I just feel better. You might also consider maybe it's later in the day, right before you shower, or right after you shower, right? I think that's like a really nice idea. Or maybe right before you go to bed, you do your 10-minute daily routine. Okay? That's another option. Another thing to mention is, if you're working out in a day, you can include your daily routine like as part of your warm up, right? So if you warm up for 10 minutes and you can include it there as well. But me personally, I do my 10-minute mobility routine in the day every single day. And by the way, I forgot to mention, your mobility routine is just more movement. More movement, you're burning more calories, right? And we talked about the 10,000 steps. You're just burning more and more calories. It makes it easier to stay lean, right? And then finally, we need to choose a method. So like, what are you actually going to do during your mobility routine? There are a lot of different ways to stay mobile. You can do, like a yoga flow. You can do various stretches, dynamic stretching. I'm going to separately have a sample mobility routine that you can use, okay? It's gonna be similar to what I do, it's gonna be a sample. Because obviously everyone's at different levels. Like you may be super flexible, you might not be that flexible, but I'm gonna give you a sample routine just to give you ideas on how to build this into your day so you're not wondering, oh, okay, dude, like what does that mean, do a mobility routine? Like I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna give you some ideas, okay? I'm not gonna leave you hanging. So that's really it. I mean, choose the time, choose a specific method you're gonna follow, okay? And choose a routine that works for you that you can progress and improve on over time. And this is a non-negotiable, man. You gotta do this. It might sound kind of out there a little bit, kind of like the cold showers. It might sound a little bit out there to you, but just commit to it. I assure you, it's gonna be worth it. And you're gonna be happy when you're 80 years old and you're gonna be able to walk around no problem, okay? That's it for this week. Keep up the momentum. You're almost there. We're almost there, all right? We just got a couple more weeks left, and I'm gonna see you next week.